How's it going, troops? Jordan here with the final video of 2019 and also the final video of the decade. Yes, we are a few days away now from the year 2020, which, even now it's mind-boggling. I can't believe it's going to be 2020. I don't think anyone can. But like I said, this is going to be the final video of the year and final video of the decade for me on the channel. And I thought to do something a little bit special, and we're going to be looking back and we're going to be reminiscing and getting a bit all nostalgic. So recently on Twitter there's been a huge trend of people tweeting out their favourite Call of Duty games or their top Call of Duty games from this decade, going all the way from 2010 all the way up to now in 2019. And it has divided a lot of opinion. There's been a lot of talk about some of the older Call of Duty games. Black Ops 2 even got trending on Twitter, which it was trending for the entire day, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, there was well over 50,000 people tweeting Black Ops 2 on Twitter. The fact that a game from 2012 is trending, and it wasn't just trending, it was a #1 trend at one point, which is absolutely mind-boggling. It's crazy, but it just goes to show not only the power of the community, but also how much Black Ops 2 influenced a lot of people. A lot of people enjoyed that game. And Charlie Intel, who everyone knows is a Call of Duty website and blog, they started the discussion off, and a lot of people on Twitter have been giving their thoughts and opinions on this. So I thought I'd join in the conversation as the final video of 2019 and the final video of the decade, and I thought I'd give you guys my best to worst Call of Duty games from this decade, from all the way back in 2010 coming all the way up to now in 2019 with Modern Warfare. Bear in mind that this is my opinion, and it's going to be different from a lot of people's, it might be different from yours, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. So there are in total 11 Call of Duty games, or at least 11 main Call of Duty titles that came out throughout the decade, and we're going to be ranking it from the worst all the way up to the best. And the reason why I've done it that way, rather than from the best to the worst, is purely because I feel like it spoils what the #1 game for me of the decade is going to be. And I think it's much interesting to kind of work our way backwards up into the #1 spot. But anyway, let's get into the video. So coming in at number 11 is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, Black Ops 4 came out last year in 2018, and I played the beta for it because I was lucky enough to be given a code by a good friend of mine. But I did not buy Black Ops 4, and it was actually the only Call of Duty game throughout this entire decade that I did not buy. And even now, to this day, I have still not bought Black Ops 4, and I don't think I'll ever will. For me, Black Ops 4 is the worst Call of Duty game to release this year, purely because it cut out the campaign and replaced it with a Battle Royale mode, which, granted, a lot of people did enjoy it. But for me, Battle Royale, it was just a trend at the time, and the fact that there was a lot of complications behind the scenes. They tried to get a campaign working, but it didn't work, and in the last 8 months or so, they scrapped together this Battle Royale mode, which, to be honest, it definitely was one of the best Battle Royale modes to actually come out of a development team. But for me, I'm all about the campaign, and the fact that it didn't have one, it really did suck. Not only that though, but the majority of Black Ops 4 multiplayer was just recycled content. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the maps in the multiplayer were actually from previous Call of Duty games, which for me is beyond ridiculous, and it wasn't just maps that they brought back and they remastered and put into the game. They actually brought back weapons, and they didn't even change it, they literally copy and pasted it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in Black Ops 3, they had 4 remastered maps from older Call of Duty games, and those maps are the exact same in Black Ops 4. To me, Black Ops 4 was just Black Ops 3 without the thrust jumps and without the wall running. It was literally the exact same, the graphics were the same, the weapons were the same, just a little different in terms of the model. It was beyond recycled, and I'm glad I didn't buy it, and I'm happy that I will never buy it. So that's why Black Ops 4 for me is ranked as the worst of this decade. Coming in at number 10, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So Infinite Warfare came out in 2016, developed by Infinity Ward, and yeah, it got a lot of negative press, as you can probably imagine. I'm pretty sure still to this day, it's the most disliked Call of Duty trailer or game of all time. It's got over 3 million dislikes on YouTube, which is absolutely insane. And I'm pretty sure it was actually at one point, it was actually the most disliked video on YouTube, which just says it all. Now, I'm not going to discredit Infinity Ward here, because the reason why I ranked Infinite Warfare above Black Ops 4 is because at least with Infinite Warfare, Infinity Ward, they tried something new. Granted, it was at the wrong time, it was the wrong place, you know, space warfare. It was at a time where people hated the thrust jumps and the boost jumping. It was a really, really awkward situation, but, you know, at the time of starting the development, you know, this was something new and people were okay with it. And, you know, this was not long after Ghosts was absolutely crapped on by the community, which I thought was quite unfair. And so Infinite Warfare got a shit ton of hate because of this. I will say that the campaign of Infinite Warfare was really good. I don't think it was one of the best campaigns I've ever seen, but it was decent, so, you know, I'll give Infinity Ward props to that. But in terms of the multiplayer, it was just a copy and paste of Black Ops 3, literally a copy and paste. Nothing really new. The only thing that was new was the space setting, which I thought was quite cool, but again, it was the wrong time at the wrong place. I was lucky enough to play Infinite Warfare pre-release at a games convention called EGX, which took place in Birmingham back in 2016, and I only really played it mainly for Modern Warfare Remastered, but we also got the chance to play Infinite Warfare, and I knew from that point on that nothing was going to be really good in the beta, and when the beta dropped it was just bleh. So Infinite Warfare comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 we have Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So Advanced Warfare was a game developed by Sledgehammer Games and released in 2014. This was the first of the 3-year development cycle Call of Duty games that were developed, and it was also the first time we saw a main core system change within the movement that Call of Duty is known for. We saw for the first time boost jumping, which a lot of people thought, wow, this is quite cool, it's something new. A lot of people were very excited, including myself. I'm not going to lie, I was very hyped for Advanced Warfare. But the game released, and the campaign, whilst it was okay, the multiplayer started off okay, but progressively it just got worse and worse and worse. The main thing, in my opinion, that killed Advanced Warfare was skill-based matchmaking, and it's a problem that's going on right now in Modern Warfare 2019. Skill-based matchmaking just completely ruined the game. All anyone ever used, including myself, was the BAU 27 or the ASM1, and the reason for that is because, number one, they were the most powerful weapons in the game, and number two, all the other weapons were garbage. You know, there was no balance in terms of the weapons. It was pure competitive 24/7. It was almost like you were playing the finals in a Major League Gaming tournament, and it completely ruined the game. And it's not just skill-based matchmaking. The advanced movement, it made hit detection a bit wonky, and, you know, the connection wasn't always the best at times. Plus, I felt there was a lot of things in Advanced Warfare that just, in terms of design, it wasn't fun. You know, they tried to change it up a bit with domination to make the score streaks, you know, more easy to attain, but it just was not fun still. And of course, who cannot forget that it's the first time we saw supply drops in Call of Duty, and yeah, the rest is history. You know, that just says it all. We don't need to talk about that. So Advanced Warfare comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Call of Duty World War II. Now, bear in mind that I'm talking about the pre-overhaul of World War II, because I sold the game before they overhauled the game, so I've never played it what it is right now. Call of Duty World War II released in 2017, and it saw a return to the roots of Call of Duty going back to the era of World War II. Now, whilst I was really excited that we were going back to a proper war theme, the multiplayer of World War II just felt a bit lackluster and felt a bit boring. I did enjoy the fact that Sledgehammer took the modern features and aspects that Call of Duty had, such as score streaks, and implemented it into this World War II themed game. But there were problems such as lag and hit detection issues, and also the divisions in the creator class, it ruined it in my opinion. You know, the fact that you could only equip a suppressor on an SMG, and, you know, there was certain limitations when it came to attachments and perks. I do know that since the overhaul this has changed, but like I said, I never played World War II once the overhaul happened. I quit it. In fact, I actually quit World War II quite early on, after a month or so, and I sold the game. It just didn't interest me after that, so it's a bit unfortunate. But anyway, World War II comes in at number 8. Moving on now to number 7, we're slowly moving up the ranks here, and that is Modern Warfare Remastered. So Modern Warfare Remastered came out in 2016 alongside with Infinite Warfare. Now, there was a big reason why this happened, and that was because, you know, Infinity Ward and Activision knew that Infinite Warfare, it was going to tank big time. I think it was pretty obvious, and the projections even showed that way months before the release. It showed that the game was going to have a lot of issues in terms of sales, and so Modern Warfare Remastered came out alongside Infinite Warfare, mainly to help boost the sales. So Modern Warfare Remastered was basically Call of Duty 4, which came out in 2007, but obviously remastered. One thing I really enjoyed about this game was the fact that in terms of the graphical fidelity, it had everything that you really would want for a remaster. The game looked beautiful, it felt good, it looked smooth. However though, there was a couple of issues that did come to light. The first thing is the nostalgia and how that wore off so quickly. So a lot of people talk about Call of Duty 4 being such an amazing game, but in terms of standards in today's age, Call of Duty 4, it's not really there. Back in 2007, Call of Duty 4 was the bomb, but here in 2019, it's more like bombed. Another issue was the fact that there were microtransactions incorporated within Modern Warfare Remastered. We saw new weapons that were never in the original game, we saw new camouflages and new different features that were part of the game that was not in the original Call of Duty 4, and of course this caused a huge uproar within the community, and for me also, I didn't like that was put into the game. Modern Warfare Remastered should have been just Call of Duty 4 left as it is. Even if it was quite boring, it should have just stayed that way, because that's what Call of Duty 4 is. That's not what it should be. And the third reason, which is a reason that was mainly my personal reason if I'm honest, and that is the engine that it was on. So Modern Warfare Remastered, obviously it was developed by Raven Software, but it was on the Sledgehammer engine which was used in Advanced Warfare. And I have a huge issue with this engine, or this version of the engine, and that is, whilst in terms of the graphical fidelity, whilst it looks really good, gameplay wise and the smoothness and the movement and the way the game flows, it's very clunky, it's very kind of messy, and I don't know if you noticed, but when your character moves, it almost seems like your character is like much bigger than he should be. I don't know why this version of the engine feels this way. It was the same with Advanced Warfare, it was the same with World War II, and it was the same with Modern Warfare Remastered. And it's a shame really, because the game, the engine, it makes the game look really good, but for whatever reason it just felt clunky. So Modern Warfare Remastered comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, that is. So yes, this year's Call of Duty game comes in at number 6 on my list. I do think Modern Warfare is a good game, and I think it has the potential to become a very great game, but there are some issues that are causing this game to again flop, and one of the reasons mainly is skill-based matchmaking. I think if skill-based matchmaking is turned down or reduced greatly, I can already tell you that the game will play so much better. When I play Call of Duty, I just want to have a fun time. I want to be able to use different weapons, just mess about, make some class setups, and look at the different weapons and rank it up, and just have some fun. When the average gamer comes home from work, he wants to play his game and he wants to have some fun and relax. He doesn't want to sweat his balls off and be chucked into an MLG final tournament, playing against SpongeBob SweatPants with his Gamma Lag G Fuel next to him, sniffing that Adderall, and playing the game like his life depends on it. At the end of the day, this is Call of Duty, it's a public, when we're playing public games, we want to have fun, we don't want to be playing competitively, and skill-based matchmaking at the moment is killing Modern Warfare. I'm surprised I'm still playing it, but I am finding some enjoyment with Modern Warfare. Like I said, I do think the game has that potential. It's got everything so far that's kind of, it's the idea is right, but they need to polish it and finesse it. And I think that the fact that the Infinity War developers are ignoring a lot of these issues, that's causing a big problem. I don't know why they're doing that. To me, it just sounds or seems very ignorant of the developers to ignore the problems rather than address it. We heard that there was supposed to be a big update, there was going to be a big overhaul to the game, and that kind of got pushed to the side and go, oh well, here's some patch notes, we've slightly adjusted this a little bit and that's about it. And not only that though, but when they are putting patch notes out, not all the patch notes are there. Things are being nerfed and things are being buffed without us even knowing, without them even being in the patch notes. So again, there's no consistency, there's no clearance, there's no communication between the developers and the community. The community, yes, whilst we're voicing our opinion and it might seem a bit harsh and very critical, we're only doing it because we want the game to be good, we want it to be a success. And you know, at the moment, Infinity Ward, you're really letting us all down. And you know, I gave you guys a second chance after Infinite Warfare, and you know, you guys are not doing a good job right now. You know, if you keep this up, you know, you're going to lose faith from one of your, you know, long-time supporters. You know, I've been supporting Infinity Ward for a long time now. Even during the Ghost period, I supported them, and you know, they're messing up big time. So you know, Modern Warfare, it can be a good game, it can be an amazing game, but it needs a lot of work. And I think reducing skill-based matchmaking, that's going to be one of the big things that will change the game and make it really good. Moving on now to the top 5. So coming in at number 5, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I feel that Black Ops 3 is the best out of the boost jumping era of Call of Duty. It's the best game out of that era. And I do think Black Ops 3 is a solid game. It had a lot of cool features, some of them new, which we never seen before in Call of Duty, like wall running. We saw a different form of the boost jumps via the thrust jumping system. We also saw a new feature called Specialist, which was quite cool, and it had a new different take on character customization in the game. And of course we had some cool features like Gunsmith and Paint Job, which even though a lot of people didn't bother with, it was still cool just to have those in the game. However though, it could have been so much better. The campaign for me was very kind of lackluster. It had no real connection with the Black Ops storyline, and for me I felt like it was just called that purely because of the name. So the campaign, you know, it wasn't very strong. You know, Train Go Boom, what the fuck is that all about? And the multiplayer just felt a bit frustrating at times. I feel like the fact that, you know, people had scuff controllers and they were just flying all over the place whilst being able to aim and shoot their weapon. For me, as a player, you know, that doesn't have a scuff controller, you know, I felt like that was very frustrating. And, you know, I came across a lot of people, you know, using scuff controllers or controllers with the back pads on. But yeah, Black Ops 3, it was a good Call of Duty game for the jetpack era. Definitely one of the best on this generation of consoles. But again, you know, it just wasn't Call of Duty. Not that I would like it. Moving on now to number 4, and we have Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, this is going to be an interesting discussion and conversation, because I already know there's going to be some people in the comments thinking to themselves, oh my god, how can you put Ghosts such high up on your list? Well, I really loved Call of Duty Ghosts, and I defended Ghosts during the time where it got a lot of hate. And no, before anyone jumps to conclusions, I wasn't that person that camped on that prison break hill with a M27 IAR, thermal and suppressor or whatever. I was a player that played a lot of free-for-all, and I ran around the map and I knew my positions, I knew where the spawns were. I could go in with any weapon and just have a blast. But anyway, let's continue. So Call of Duty Ghosts came out in 2013 and again was developed by Infinity Ward. And it was a breakaway from the Modern Warfare series. It was a brand new sub-series which unfortunately didn't go anywhere. I'm still hoping that one day we will get a Ghost 2, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. And it was a completely new story with a new cast of characters, a new setting, a new theme, and it was kind of a near-future post-apocalyptic setting. Some of the things I really enjoyed about Ghosts was the new take on map design. So they had different kind of dynamic elements to the maps, and the maps felt a little bit bigger, which coming from Black Ops 2, you know, for me it felt a bit nicer, the fact that, you know, that there was more room to move around the map rather than just his lane 1, his lane 2 and his lane 3, and that's it. I also really enjoyed the creator class system in Call of Duty Ghosts, especially the new perk system. I love the fact that there were so many different perks and they were valued at different points. It made it so you can kind of create the class that was to your liking or to your playstyle. It felt very unique, and you know, I really did enjoy that. I do think in terms of the multiplayer, the point streaks could have been a bit better. I felt that there were a lot of point streaks that were missing from Ghosts that, you know, that were in Modern Warfare 3 that could have easily been put in Ghosts. And I also wasn't too keen on the SATCOM system. I felt that, you know, it should have been just a normal UAV, especially with the fact that a lot of people camped in Ghosts, and I think having a normal UAV would have made the game so much better. Another thing I really loved about Ghosts was the fact that the DLC was very unique and very cool. It was different to what we usually had. There were map kill streaks. There was one map, I think, in the DLC called Mutiny, which had a Ghost Pirates as a kill streak for the map. And I thought that, again, it was quite cartoony, but I thought it was quite cool that they had some unique field order kill streaks for the different maps. And another thing I loved about Ghosts was the soundtrack, especially within the multiplayer menus. With each DLC map pack that was released, there was new multiplayer menu music, and each one of them was quite cool. And for me, I think my favourite one was when Devastation dropped. When that map pack dropped, oh my god, the music, the menu music was just incredible. You know, Theatre World did a good job with that. But again, I can understand where a lot of frustrations with Ghosts came into play, such as big maps. A lot of people didn't like some of the big maps like Siege and Stonehaven. Also, there was a lot of people camping with the attack dog and using the M27 IAR with a thermal scope and with a suppressor. And who can forget the infamous IED? I think a lot of people still have PTSD from that device, even when it got nerfed. So yeah, Ghosts, it had a lot of potential. There was a lot of things I did like about it, and you know, for me it's definitely one of my favourite games of this generation. But I can understand where a lot of the frustration from the community came from. Do I think it deserved the hate that it got? No. I think that Ghosts was unfairly hated on. And personally I felt like a lot of people bandwagoned the hate for Ghosts rather than coming to their own logical conclusions. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So yeah, Ghosts comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Shocker, I know, it's not number 1. So Black Ops 2 came out in 2012, and wow, what an amazing Call of Duty game this was. So many new things, like score streaks were introduced, the Pick 10 Creator Class system was introduced, maps were either symmetrical or 3-laned. It was the first time we saw the diamond camouflage in Call of Duty, and for me I think Black Ops 2 has the best diamond camouflage out of any of the Call of Duty games. It was the first time we saw the assault shield, which a lot of people trolled about with. It was the first time we saw the infamous shock charges, which, oh my god, they were so bloody annoying, but it was fun to throw them at the enemy and get a free kill. And Black Ops 2 had so much more to offer as well. The campaign that continued on from the original Black Ops was pretty good. I love the fact that it was a near future setting, but it kind of also went back to the past within the campaign. And of course we saw returning characters such as Sergeant Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and also some new characters like Harper and David Mason. The zombies was also a completely new experience with Transit, and whilst a lot of people really hated Transit because it was different from the standard normal zombies mode, for me, I really liked Transit. I thought it was very cool, and it was definitely an interesting new take on zombies, and I had a lot of fun memories on that zombie bus, especially when an old friend of mine, he tossed an EMP out and the bus driver just went into meltdown mode, and we were stranded on the bus in the middle of lava with a huge horde of zombies trying to break in, and that was just such a crazy moment, and I'm pretty sure it's on my channel somewhere, so if you search on my channel it'll be there somewhere. But Black Ops 2, it was a really good solid Call of Duty game. It had a lot of cool features, a lot of cool design aspects to it. There were some problems with Black Ops 2 that made it very annoying, like the fact that sniper rifles were just so easy to use. Shotguns like the Remington were god so annoying. C4 and EMP spam 24/7, which was just absolutely frustrating to play with. But most of the positives do outweigh the negatives at least. And I also felt that Black Ops 2, it kind of catered to everyone. You know, everyone had different playstyles, and I felt that Black Ops 2 catered to all playstyles as best as it could. So yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 comes in at number 3. Moving on now to second place at number 2, and that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now again, a lot of people are going to be thinking, what, you've ranked MW3 above Black Ops 2, what drugs are you on? But for me, Modern Warfare 3 was a blast. I had a lot of fun with this game, and I know a lot of people at the time, they dubbed it as Modern Warfare 2.5, and that, you know, it wasn't very innovative, it was very similar to Modern Warfare 2, but for me, Modern Warfare 3 was basically the core gameplay that Call of Duty 4 was, but with the fun aspects that Modern Warfare 2 brought to the table. But not only that though, but it was kind of finessed, it was kind of polished a bit. It was the conclusion of the Modern Warfare trilogy, and the campaign was phenomenal as always. And even to this day, I'm still sad that Soap died. You know, that's a very sad time, that was. The multiplayer offered a lot of new features, such as point streaks, which was similar to kill streaks, but now playing the objective actually earned you points towards your reward. It also offered strike packages for the first time, which allowed players to, you know, play like they normally would with the assault package, or they could play a more supportive role with the support package, Or if you're a lone wolf, as I was in the free-for-all playlists, then Specialist was the third strike package, which allowed you to, rather than earn rewards from the air or from the ground, it actually rewarded you with perks. And of course, pro perks were in the game, which were crazy fun. And you know, Specialist is definitely one of the best things that Modern Warfare 3 came out with. We also saw some new modes like Kill Confirmed, Drop Zone, Infected, Team Defender, All or Nothing, and Money in the Dank. We also saw weapon level for the first time, which allowed you to kind of earn your attachments through leveling up your weapon, and also by the end of your weapon level you were rewarded with the gold camouflage. There was a lot of cool new emblems and titles that were also in the game. We also had Call of Duty Elite, which officially launched with Modern Warfare 3 and was absolutely huge. There was all sorts of online content that you could watch, guides that you could check out. You could check out how your performance was in game. You could create your class from your app or from your PC, and then obviously it will be transferred into the game. And also they had Clan Ops, which was amazing for teams or for a group of friends who wanted to play together. And who can forget Spec Ops? Spec Ops from Modern Warfare 2 returned, and there was more missions than ever before. And also we had Survival, which was a completely new mode, similar to Zombies, but rather than it being zombies, it's AI characters or AI enemies on the different multiplayer maps. And last but not least, who can forget the Elite DLC? The fact that we were given new DLC every single month for 9 months straight was absolutely incredible. It was a cool new thing that was with Modern Warfare 3, and it broke away from your traditional map packs that came out. And with the new Elite DLC drops came new multiplayer maps and also new Spec Ops missions. So yeah, Modern Warfare 3 for me was a really good game. It did have its flaws, but for me it's definitely number 2, and I'll always remember the memories of that game. So that leaves the top position at number 1, and number 1 is Call of Duty Black Ops. Yes, the game that started off this decade, Call of Duty Black Ops from 2010, is my number 1 Call of Duty game of this decade. Black Ops was developed by TREYARCH, and it broke away from the World War II theme that was World at War, and transported us all the way into the Cold War, taking us across Far East Asia, America, and even parts of the Soviet Union. It also had a crazy, mind-boggling campaign. I mean, the numbers, Mason, you know, what do they mean? We had an amazing cast of characters like Reznov, Alex Mason, Hudson, Woods, Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner, all must die. Whoa, I think I just channeled my inner Reznov then. So yeah, Black Ops had an amazing array of characters, and also the missions in the campaign were just phenomenal. I mean, the Blackburn mission was very cool. The fact that it went between from being up into the SR-71 and being all the way back down on the ground and transitioning between the two, that was a cool mission. The fact that we were infiltrating a Soviet space facility with Sergeant Frank Woods, that was a cool mission. And of course the revelation that was the fact that Alex Mason had these numbers programmed into his mind. It all led to a very, very dark and awesome campaign experience. It really was a fantastic experience. Moving on to the multiplayer of Black Ops. Now for me, Black Ops had the best multiplayer ever. I feel like Black Ops multiplayer is probably the most balanced Call of Duty that we could ever get. All the weapons, they felt very good and they looked good and they sounded amazing. The maps were phenomenal, they played amazingly. I don't think there's even some of the bad maps like Crisis, they're not even really bad maps, you know, they're really good maps, especially by today's standards. The perks and the pro perks were very balanced. I feel like, you know, apart from Ghost and Second Chance, I feel like if they were tweaked a bit, I feel like if Ghost was tweaked, so it only worked if you were on the move, and they took Second Chance out and replaced it with a different perk, I feel like, you know, the perks in that game would have been perfectly balanced, definitely. And of course, remember the amazing kill streaks like the SR-71 Blackbird, the attack dogs, the chopper gunner pulling back those doors and raining down hellfire of bullets down onto your enemies across the map, the gunship, the care package, the spy plane, the attack helicopter, the sentry gun, the SAM turret, the Valkyrie rockets. All of the kill streaks in Black Ops were phenomenal, and they were so fun to use, and they were just amazing. The character models in the multiplayer were very cool indeed, the factions were cool, the camouflages were cool, the variety of attachments was very interesting, And I also loved how the sniping was in Black Ops. I feel like the Black Ops sniping is the most balanced sniping to date. I loved how satisfying it was using the L96A1 or the Dragunov or the PSG1 or the WA2000 and sniping across the map and getting that kill. It just felt so satisfying getting that kill. And don't forget the amazing DLC that also came out as well, with the First Strike, Escalation, Annihilation and also Resurrection. We had amazing DLC maps like Hotel, Convoy, Stadium, Discovery, Drive-In and many more. And also it was the first time we saw wager matches implemented in Call of Duty. It was great to play some fun modes and putting your Call of Duty points on the line, playing modes like Gun Game, Sticks and Stones, One in the Chamber. You know, these game modes, putting your COD points on the line to either earn more or to lose it, that risk, you know, to have to lose that currency, that in-game currency, was very intense and very competitive, but it was also fun. It was a fun competitive way of playing, and you know, I definitely enjoyed wager matches. It's a shame that they've not come back since, but then again, you know, it wouldn't be the same because, you know, COD points now, it's not what it used to be. You know, COD points in Black Ops is far superior, but it's unfortunate, but you know, that's the way it is now, unfortunately. And before I end the video, we got to talk about the Zombies mode in Black Ops. Black Ops Zombies was phenomenal. It was a huge step up from what World at War offered. Kino de Toten and 5 are two of my most favourite Zombies maps ever. They are so dark, so gritty and so terrifying. Even now, when I go back and play on maps like 5, getting in that elevator and going down to the lower floor and then coming across the Pentagon Thief, chasing after you, seeing those numbers fly by, it gives you the creeps. And you know, for me, the first time playing that, and the first time I came across that Pentagon Thief, you know, I screamed like a girl. You know, it was terrifying, and that's what I miss from Zombies. I miss how terrifying it is. Now it just seems very cartoonish and kind of bland, and it just seems very boring. You know, it needs to have that darkness, that grittiness, that old school vibe of, you know, I want to shit myself, literally. You know, I feel like if Zombies felt that way again, then I'd love it. I'd fall back in love with it again. So yeah, Black Ops is my #1 Call of Duty game of this decade, without a doubt. I think it's the most balanced Call of Duty game to date, give or take a couple of things. And yeah, I really am looking forward to what Treyarch are doing next year. I'm a bit concerned because obviously they haven't got as much time as what they should have. But the rumours are it's going to be another entry into the Black Ops series, which, you know, for me, I wish they'd just leave the Black Ops series and they make a new series. They just, you know, scrap that now and just start again. But it is reported that it's going to be back into the Cold War era. It's going to be crossing over into the Korean Wars and also parts of the Vietnam War. So the fact that it's going to go back to that old school era again, who knows? Maybe it's going to be a really good game. I think the theme of the Cold War is really good, and you know, this decade started off with the Cold War, so maybe the new decade in 2020 is also going to start off with the Cold War. We'll have to wait and see what Treyarch are going to do, but no doubt, you know, in the next few months we're going to start finding out some rumours and reports and information about the next Call of Duty game. So troops, that is my Call of Duty list of the best to worst or worst to best ranked Call of Duty games that came out this decade. I know that the video's kind of gone on a bit, but I wanted to get my point across as to why I enjoyed or why I didn't enjoy certain parts of these different games. Let me know down in the comments section below your list of best to worst or worst to best of what you feel Call of Duty this decade should be ranked, with all the different games and titles that came out these past 10 years. I'll be very interested to see your list down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, then do give the video a thumbs up, I would appreciate it a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. And when you do subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification button so that way you're notified of all my future uploads. If you want to help my channel out by giving it more exposure, then definitely share the video out with your friends, I'd appreciate it a lot. And also, I've recently started up a Patreon to help further support my videos on the channel, so if any of you are willing to help further support me, then there's now a way of doing that through my Patreon. It's the first link in the description below, and also it's on my channel art banner. So troops, until the next video, and until the new year, and until the new decade, I thank you all for watching, stay true to me troops, and of course, I'll see you in game.